If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
Now, Ed, going in today with the meetings, you watch the film, talk about what happened, and I know talking to some of the players and talking to you before we started tonight, didn't really expect, we know Harbaugh loves the practice. I mean, that's one of his favorite quotes. I love being out here for practice. You guys weren't really expecting to be let go today, so what was the reaction in the locker room when you hear, hey, we're done for the week?
Well, we had to think to ourselves, was he playing with us? Everybody took the chance and changed their flights to tomorrow or something. But that's the type of guy he is. He expects the unexpected. He wants us to have fun and win. And if we're winning, it's going to be a happy environment around Owens Mills.
He didn't make you do more work because you guys beat Stanford last year, Oregon beat Stanford. It wasn't any more personal. Hey, Ed, you get to stick around for another day or two just as a penalty.
Nah, he wasn't bittersweet on that one. and his brother coached for San Francisco now, so we got to beat them, so he has to give me a little bit of love now.
Yeah, right? You're back on his side. Yeah. Ed, for you, obviously this season is so much different, going from your rookie to your second season. Last year you were clearly involved in the offense, but not as a starter, not as a guy that was out there as much as you now are on the field. How much has changed for you as far as what you know about the game of football, how you prepare? What have you learned from year one to year two in your NFL career?
Well, it's a big difference from year one to year two because last year my head was spinning from the offense, learning the offensive plays, knowing the defenses and stuff like that. My head was spinning. So this year the game slows down that much more, where I'm thinking about how I'm going to execute my route and stuff like that, and looking at those coverages so I can be open 90% of the time.
Now, obviously, as a starter, you're replacing a guy, Todd Heap, who was here for a decade, and everyone loved Heap with the chants at the stadium. But how big was his influence on you? You just talked about making that transition from your rookie year to the second year now as a starter. What kind of influence did he have on you? And have you had a chance to keep in touch with him at all? Obviously, an abrupt ending for his stay here in Baltimore before training camp. But talk a little bit about the impact Todd Heap has had on the early stages of your career.
Well, early on, I talked to Todd Heap before I got here, and I wasn't sure what type of guy he'll be, whether he'll be the type of guy that wouldn't show me anything or just be all out with me. But when I got here and I got to meet Todd Heap and hang with him and go through the first training camp with him, he's a stand-up guy. And he's number one in that position, I think, in my eyes. I didn't get to be with Shannon Sharp, and that's the kind of leadership that Shannon Sharp passed on to him, and Todd Heap showed me everything that I needed to know. He didn't force information on me. He basically said I would have did this better, I would have did that better, and coached me in a well-coached manner. And I respect him for that. And that's the type of guy I am today, that I'm going to pass that on to somebody else someday just because Todd Heap was that type of guy.
Now, did that make it easier or more difficult knowing that essentially now I'm salary cap, it's the business part of it, but knowing that you essentially replaced him as the starting tight end here in Baltimore?
It's kind of bittersweet because you're missing a brother, but it's opportunity. So
right.
Myself and Dennis Pitta, our eyes lit up and we were like, let's go. That's why they got us here. I mean, we see those guys in New England out there making plays. We can be better than those guys. That's the honest feeling. We can be better than those guys.
What has it meant for you to have Dennis Pitta with you for these first two seasons? To have a guy like that maybe you don't have the same backgrounds, but you came into the NFL at the same time. You both came in with the idea that you were ultimately going to be taking over the tight end position. How much does it help for you to have Dennis along with you?
It helped a lot in the fact that we're both fierce competitors, and we're going to keep competing against each other in practice or in the game. So if I catch two balls, I'm gonna look at him like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And we help each other out. And if I didn't pick up on something, he's smart enough that he can pick up on it. And it's been a lot easier, I would think, than me being here by myself.
Sure. And feel more of a chemistry, not just because you're on the field more, but just because there's certain things that now in year two, you're like, dude, he knows I want the ball right here, and when he throws me the ball on this route, I know he's putting it in the exact spot where I want it.
Exactly. Broadway Joe, that's what I call him, Broadway Joe is one of the best quarterbacks out there, and he proved that day in and day out. And he hasn't been with these group of guys, this specific group of guys before in the season, and the things that he's doing with all different guys, with Torrey Smith, with myself, with Dennis Pitta, with Anquan, he's a stand-up guy. He's gonna find an open guy, and that's all we can do is prove to him that we're accountable. We're going to be in the right spot at the right time, and Joe's going to continue to just shred defense up.
Ed DIckson here with Glenn Clark, Luke Jones on WNST. Ed, let me ask you, we need to get to know you a little bit better. Are you the type of guy that you go back and like watch yourself on YouTube ever? Do you ever, you know, like, do you play fantasy football, maybe have yourself on your own team? What kind of guy are you in that way?
Play Madden and see what your rating is.
Yeah, right? Complain about your rating when you get the game. What am I, an 84? I know I'm better than that.
The YouTube thing, I go back and watch some of the memorable games from college, but I'm not in the fantasy world and stuff like that. But I have a lot.
By the way, you're on my team. I've told you that before. I need more production out of you.
It feels good to have people out there that want me on their fantasy team, that's looking forward for me having a great game and stuff like that. And I take that in consideration. I go out there and say, I got to put on for my fantasy team.
Right.
So I go out there and try to get the job done. I mean, I work hard and continue to work hard. We want to get better each week. We are a young group, offensive group, and we're just going to continue to get better each week and try to just dominate teams, like our defense.
Before we wrap this segment, so we know you don't shave your legs, but you've got to have some weird pre-game ritual or
what's your superstition?
You know, what's the thing that you have to do that somebody might say something like, really, that's something you got to do?
I don't know.
You know you've got one. Don't be embarrassed. It's okay. You've got.
You're among friends here,
right? No, just imagine nobody's there.
I'm trying to think about what I do before pregame. I mean, it's pretty much the same routine every time. I mean, before I usually get there either 2 hours or 2 hours and a half before the game, go out and throw the ball with Joe, run each route that I'm going to run in the game before the game. So it's kind of like old tradition. I don't think I got any.
There's no like you have to have a certain type of granola bar or something like that. Nothing weird like that. I told Torrey whatever he did before the St. Louis game, he should just tell everyone in the locker room what it was, and everyone should be forced to do that for a week.
Yeah.
It was probably tweeting a lot.
Right.
Probably. The nickname tweet.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
I think, to answer your question, I think now I'm doing more IVs, and I'm the guy that doesn't like the needle. So I'm the guy that's getting more IVs now, just so I got that much fuel in the fourth quarter so we can last longer.
You told me that your son got 4 shots today. Who handles the needle better, you or your son?
I think he does.
That's pretty good. All right, give it up for Ed DIckson, Ravens tight end. I'm telling you, already, I'm convinced we don't need B.A. back. We can just let him stay out wherever he is. This segment of the show is brought to
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.